This is BBC News. I'm Ben Brown. The headlines at 9. The next stage of the universal credit rollout is delayed amid concerns. Sunday morning edition of the papers coming up for you at 9:35, and reviewing them today, Rosamond Irwin from the Sunday Times and the political commentator James Miller. Hello, good morning. Plans to move 3 million people onto universal credit are to be delayed amid concerns that the system is causing hardship to some. Instead, MPs will be asked to approve the transfer of just 10,000 people to the new benefit system as part of a pilot scheme to see how the...
The news now on BBC One and in high definition on BBC One HD, live from Olympic Park with Sophie Rayworth.
Filling up the Olympic venues, organisers have sold an extra 3,000 seats for today's events after they're given back by sportsmen. Good afternoon and welcome to the BBC News at 1 from the Olympic Park.
Now on BBC One and BBC One HD with some flash photography from the start. The news at 6 o'clock with Chris Rogers.
Stripped of his seat and barred from Parliament for 3 years, Labour MP Phil Woollas is found guilty of illegal practices under flagship HMS Ark Royal. The aircraft carrier is to be mothballed following last month's defence review. Hello and welcome to BBC News.
Now on BBC One, the 10 o'clock news with Hugh Edwards.
Tonight at 10, on the eve of the Queen's speech, the government recommits to tackling the deficit. 2 years after deciding to share power, David Cameron and Nick Clegg come together. Good evening. On the eve of the Queen's speech, when the government's new programme of legislation will be unveiled, David Cameron and Nick Clegg have reaffirmed their commitment to the coalition government, which is 2 years old this week.
Well, now on BBC News, it's Sports Day.
Hello, welcome to Sports Day with me, Hugh Ferris, and John Watson. The headlines this evening: no Diego Costa, but still Chelsea win. The leaders are 7 points clear now at the top of the Premier League. Unification bout. 3-0 win at Leicester. Bowdo Jack in Brooklyn. Hello, welcome along. Having a disagreement with a star player doesn't seem to be much of a distraction anymore. We'll tell you about West Ham without Dimitri in a moment, but first Chelsea.
That's it from us. Do join Clive at 10 for all the very latest developments from COP26 in Glasgow. But now it is time for the BBC News teams where you are. Goodbye.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Sports Day. I'm Holly Hamilton. Coming up on tonight's programme, can Scotland get the job done in Moldova? Patrick Bamford, win tonight, and how the role sport can make a difference. Hello, welcome to the programme. Now, I would forgive some of our Scottish viewers tonight who...
Hello and welcome to BBC Channel Islands News. In tonight's programme, the mums being told to use washable nappies to help freedom. Thanks for being with us. First tonight, new mums are being encouraged to use washable nappies. A trial's being carried out to try and reduce the amount of disposable nappies thrown away in Jersey every year. Amy Harris has the story. And that's it from us in the Channel Islands for now. I'm back with updates at 8 and 10:25. Here's Justin and Victoria. Bye for now.
Tonight, the damning report that reveals the frightening realisation that children in care may still be at risk. There can be no doubt that physical and sexual abuse and emotional neglect, and a recommendation that Ho de la Garin should be demolished. Good evening. In care and still at risk. Tonight, the findings of the independent Jersey Care Inquiry into historic abuse reports that it believes children remain at risk in care and elements of children's services are still not fit for purpose.
It's almost 6:35. You're watching East Midlands Today.
Tonight, how we observed today's minute's silence for the Manchester terror victims. And heading for the TT via our studio, Norton's Donington Dream Team.
Good evening and welcome to Thursday's programme with Dominic Heel and me, Geeta Pense.
Tonight on BBC London News, warnings that a £230 million shortfall could leave the Met unable to provide. The brickie from Banstead who's swapping the building site for the music charts. Good evening and welcome to the programme.
Coming up this evening on BBC London. Not enough resources to deal with a threat of terror. The stark warning from the man in charge of Scotland Yard during 7/7. Now you see it. Hoping to be pitch perfect, the fans chosen to sing in front of thousands ahead of this weekend's FA Cup final at Wembley. Very good evening, I'm Asad Ahmed. The man in charge of...
Tonight on BBC London, could this landfill site on the Thames pose a toxic risk to the river? Experts issue a we talk to the stars behind Disney's latest live-action animation. Welcome to BBC London. I'm Victoria Hollins.
Good afternoon. The cyclist killed during a time trial event in Cambridgeshire yesterday has been named. He was Gareth Rhys-Evans, a serving army major with 1 military intelligence battalion in Germany. Kim Riley has more. That's about it from us. Have a good afternoon. We'll see you again at 7:15. Bye-bye.
Hello, rail passengers have been facing another frustrating day after the storms yesterday afternoon caused signalling problems.
Hello, welcome to Look East. Coming up in the programme tonight, the dietary divide created by COVID. New research sparks. First tonight, how the coronavirus pandemic has affected the way we eat.
Today, the headlines this lunchtime. Huge relief for the arts, but now the big question, where will the government surging towards the Premier League? Good afternoon. There's a collective sigh of relief.
Good evening, you're watching BBC Newsline.
Hello, I'm Steve Saul. Welcome to North West Today. The headlines this Wednesday lunchtime. Hello, I'm Steve Saul. Welcome to North West Today. The headlines this Thursday lunchtime. Smart ticketing could be scrapped to save millions from the Northern among the first to get the COVID jab. Plans to roll out contactless technology across the North's transport network are in jeopardy after the Department of Transport revealed funding cuts. Owen will be back with Roger tonight at 6:30 for North West Tonight. Don't forget it's that vaccine special. If you've got a question, don't forget to email us this afternoon. That's nwt@bbc.co.uk for your questions on email. That's it from me and the lunchtime team for now, though. Thanks for watching and do have a good afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.
In BBC Points West tonight, she took on the council and won. The former boss of Cheltenham is cleared of lying by the High Court.
Challenge.
But at what
We pit
personal
cycle
cost?
against car in a special rush hour race.
The former chief executive of Cheltenham Borough Council has won an important High Court case after her bosses accused her of lying.
Sounds fun, yeah.
Love it. Noctilucent clouds. That's a good one, isn't it? Sympathies for the hay fever sufferers. Thank you for all your generous donations to try and get the Polish lady home. Much appreciated.
Yes, but for now from the team, a very good evening to you.
Welcome to BBC Points West with David Garmston and Alex Lovell.
Our main story tonight, smiles to hide the tension. Armed police guard shopping centres as a terror threat
as
remains
thousands
critical.
pause to remember the victims of the Manchester attack.
Our other headlines tonight, a mother and her 3 children escaped from this inferno. Now the community in Bath is rallying round to help.
UKIP launches its manifesto, but the candidate in Gloucester defies his party over its proposed ban on burqas.
And hitting all the high notes, the choir performing on the cathedral rooftops.
Good evening. Police armed with guns are patrolling our streets and shopping centres today as the terror threat stands at critical. But they're doing it with a smile, posing for selfies with children as they attempt to calm the public's fears.
Tonight on Reporting Scotland.
Yes, 67, no, 59.
There were no abstentions. The motion is therefore agreed.
Coach Vern Cotter
and 11 players are nervous as they prepare for their Six Nations opener. Good evening. MSPs have tonight voted to support the Scottish Government's tax and spending budget package. Thanks very much, Closer. Now, a reminder of tonight's main news. MSPs have voted to support the Scottish Government's budget, with the Greens backing the SNP's plans. And that's Reporting Scotland. I'll be back with the headlines at 8 and the late bulletin just after the 10 o'clock news. See you then. Bye-bye.
Good evening. A Kent woman who's now dying from cancer suffered serious failings in her care and has been the victim of an injustice. That's the finding of a damning report into the treatment given to Debbie Westwick from Harbledown near Canterbury.
Welcome to South East Today. I'm Ellie Crisell. Tonight's top stories. A school says sorry after children were left in tears when they were told they wouldn't see their parents
for their visions for our coastal and rural communities.
Good evening. A Kent primary school has apologised after pupils were left in tears when they were told the building would be evacuated and they wouldn't be able to see their parents as part of an educational exercise.
Today, our top stories this evening. The devastated family of a teenager killed in a car crash on Saturday paid tribute.
She had a lovely heart.
Its unique kite mark scheme.
She was quirky.
And before and after, we take a look at your headlines as the barbers and hairdressers reopen.
Good evening. BBC's news teams, where you are. Bye-bye.
Hello and welcome to Wales Today. The headlines. 3 more local authority areas are in lockdown this evening. It means 2/3 of the Welsh population are now living under tighter restrictions.
In an empty stadium, a warning tonight that without financial help, only Premier League clubs may survive.
Good evening, noswaith chi. In the past half an hour, 3 more areas of Wales have gone back into lockdown. It means that almost 2 million people have now had more restrictions placed on their everyday lives.
Zeg til ik een plastic of ik een lege genoors en ergens ken ik je maar geld jaar in de zak in ze define. Ging glaxers in het eerst eetje haar nieuwe een player. Er is geen nog getast en hij maanden draaste er zal neerken en het al naastente ergens eternastente en la.
Hooggoed en chokke prief neerken en la. Bille uur na halappe dal ma gaan in de parlement staan en heel goed kunnen hartstikke galappe. En SNP gewank. Agus dragam ys cythuanig bonje en nerigel met Friese bonje zat de kaul erketje in raaste gach liter had reik. Fes mas fouten dat gaan vroeg nog. Gaat je billen uur na half en we gaan in de parlement met in je heen. Ach maar.
This is Breakfast with Ben Thompson and Nugget Monchetti.
Sir Alex Ferguson is in intensive care after having emergency surgery for a brain hemorrhage.
His former club, Manchester United, says the operation went well.
My thoughts and prayers are with you, my dear friend.
Good morning, it is Sunday the 6th of May.
Good morning, welcome to Breakfast with Dan Walker and Louise Minchin.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. Our headlines for you this morning. Voting closes today as Conservative Party members decide who they want to be the next Prime Minister.
That will be busy this week as temperatures soar by day for some up to 35 degrees and for some don't fall lower than 25 degrees at midnight tomorrow. I'll have more in 15 minutes.
Good morning, it's Monday the 22nd of July. Top story for you this morning. Good morning, welcome to Breakfast with Steph McGovern and Dan Walker.
Our headlines this morning. Scotland's growing drugs crisis. New figures expect to show more than 1,000 people died as a result
one or two showers here and there. Will they be coming your way? Join me for the full forecast right here on Breakfast.
Good morning, thanks for joining us. It's Tuesday the 16th of July. Our top stories for you. Figures out this morning are expected to show a significant rise in the number of deaths from drug abuse in Scotland.
Hello and welcome to Newsday on the BBC. I'm Rico Hizon in Singapore.
And I'm Kasia Madeira in London. The headlines this hour. Libya condemns Britain's decision to expel all of Colonel Gaddafi's diplomats after recognising
the head of the IOC extends an invitation to the world's athletes. It is 11 a.m. here in Singapore.
And it's 4 a.m. here in London, broadcasting to viewers on PBS in America and around the world. This is Newsday. Hello and welcome. 5 months after the start of the uprising against Colonel Gaddafi's rule, Britain has formally recognised the opposition rebel council as the new government of Libya. The US, France and more than 30 other countries have already recognised the council. Our World Affairs editor John Simpson has this assessment.
I'm Rico Hizon in Singapore. The headlines. Malaysia asks Indian Ocean islands to be on the lookout for wreckage.
But
for the latest
the past getting lost in modern architecture? We find out.
Live from our studios in Singapore and London. This is BBC World News. It's Newsday.
Hello everyone, glad you could join us. It's 7 in the morning here in Singapore and we start with the search for MH370 and police authorities on the island of Reunion say another piece of wreckage that has been found is not from the missing flight. Malaysia has asked countries.
BP bosses face an angry president and amid the apologies and agreements. Hello, it was billed as a showdown, a chance for President.
This is BBC World News America. Reporting from Washington, I'm Scott Simon. An ominous warning as Tehran police used tear gas to disperse demonstrators. The grass is green and the tennis togs are white, but look up in the skies. There's something new above the court at the All England Club. Welcome, I'm Scott Simon, standing in for Matt Fry, who's on assignment. Hundreds of people defied a warning from Iran's elite Revolutionary Guard today, and they gathered in the center of Tehran. Eyewitnesses say they were met with riot police, tear gas, and armed members of the religious militia. On tomorrow's edition of BBC World News America, we'll continue to follow events as they unfold in Iran. Stay with BBC News for all the latest developments. And of course, you can always find the up-to-the-minute headlines and in-depth BBC News coverage on our website. I'm Scott Simon. Thanks very much for indulging my peculiar accent tonight. For all of us who work here on BBC World News America, thank you.
This is BBC World News America. Reporting from Washington, I'm Jane O'Brien.
The US economy
Sky
accelerates
show, a
amid
blood
warnings
moon
it rises in the longest lunar eclipse this century. Welcome to World News America. The US economy has surged in the second quarter, topping 4% growth for the first time in years. President Trump said the boost was the result of his trade deals and said the figure will go even higher. It's also
Good morning, guys. Ricky here with all the latest this Tuesday morning. Coming up on News Round, NASA unveiled their latest expedition to the Red Planet, and Storm St. Jude gets worse as it reaches mainland Europe. This is News Round. But let's start today with the incredible story of how a 3D printer changed a 12-year-old boy's life that at one time was believed to be thicker than Earth's. Their satellites will be launched mid-November. OK, that's your lot. For now, we're back right here in half an hour. See you then. Bye-bye. Hello, I'm Ricky and welcome to our new studio here at Newsround this Monday morning. First up, one of the ways scientists hope to cut pollution is to stop people using oil, coal and petrol to power machines. Now, we already know about using wind and solar power, but BBC reporter Olivia Krellin went to investigate another option, hydrogen.
Because sending a poo actually means good luck in Japan. Ugh.
Well, that's all from me. We're back right here in half an hour. Do join us then. Bye-bye.
This is BBC World News Today. I'm Kasia Madeira. Our top stories. The former Russian spy at the centre of the poisoning scandal is getting better, according to doctors.
He's responding well to treatment, improving rapidly, and is no longer in a critical condition.
Days before Mark Zuckerberg appears before Congress, Facebook announces new measures to counter fake news. Brazil's top court rejects former President Lula's plea to remain free while he appeals against a corruption conviction. A deadline to turn himself in has now passed. And in sport, can Pep Guardiola's Manchester City win the English Premiership in style by beating Manchester City? Hello and welcome to World News Today. The former Russian spy poisoned in a nerve agent attack in the UK is no longer in a critical condition, according.
Now on BBC HD, we're handing over to David Dimbleby and the team for all the action as it happens from the 2010 general election.
It's been the most exciting, unpredictable election for a generation. Over the next few hours, we'll discover what's happened. Welcome to election night here on the BBC.
Where there is discord, may we bring harmony.
Good evening, and what an extraordinary campaign it's been. It began as a two-horse race. It ended with 3 starters at the line. And in 4 minutes' time, when we have our exit poll, we'll have the first indication of who's the winner, if indeed there is a clear winner. Whether David Cameron becomes the first Tory Prime Minister in 13 years, whether Gordon Brown returns triumphant to number 10 or...
On Outside Source, if you're watching in North America, it's World News America next, with much more on James Comey's testimony before Congress. But if you're watching on the BBC News channel here in the UK or elsewhere around the world, we're handing over to David Dimbleby in the BBC Elections studio. The polls are minutes away from closing in the UK's general election, and we're about to find out the results of the exit poll. I'll let David pick up the coverage.
Good evening and welcome to the BBC Election Centre.
So let's see how things pan out throughout the night now on BBC One. Hugh Edwards has coverage of election 2019 right through until 6 o'clock, live.
We're in the most turbulent period in British politics since the Second World War. The votes are being counted in hundreds of local councils in England, and tomorrow they'll be counted in Northern Ireland. The stakes have rarely been higher. Yes, a very good evening from the BBC's Election Centre, where we're standing by for the first results of these local elections. Throughout the day, millions of people have been voting in much of England and in Northern Ireland. Local issues, without any doubt, will dictate many of the results. But it is impossible, of course, to ignore the wider political landscape, the Brexit deadlock at Westminster, the prolonged uncertainty that has come with it.
Good evening and welcome at the end of this momentous day when each one of us has had the chance to say what kind of country we want to live in. At 10 o'clock, the polling stations close after weeks, months, years of argument, and we'll have the answer to the question that's haunted British politics for so long. Do we want to be in or out of the EU? As at every election, there's been the usual round of main players casting their votes.
And as the story unfolds, we'll ask which bits of the campaign worked, which flopped, and if British politics will ever look quite the same again.
Now, the ballot boxes stay open for just a few moments more, and then the drama of referendum night can begin. Now, when Big Ben strikes 10 in a general election, of course, we release our exit poll to give the first indication of who's won. For the referendum, it's not going to be possible. Exit polls work, if they do, by comparing one election with another and measuring the change. It'd be crazy to compare this European referendum with the one that was held 41 years ago. It wouldn't work. So patience is our watchword tonight as we wait for the first actual declarations to come through.
It's Wednesday, it's 11:15 and we're live in Westminster. Joining me, former Conservative Cabinet Minister Andrea Leadsom, Plaid Cymru leader Adam Price, editor of the Sheffield Star Nancy Fielder, and political commentator Tim again. Should we be warned about calories? Well, let's start with that story as pub gardens opened up earlier in the week. The Sun newspaper has this headline, "Pint for the count." Pints ordered in pubs will be slapped with calorie counts. Leaked nanny state plans reveal, something that the Health Secretary is reported to want big pub chains, which is to show the number of calories in your favourite tipple. Good idea or not, Andrea?
If he had taken my advice then, we would have had something like 15,000 fewer deaths in England.
Andrea, very briefly.
I mean, well, that really sums it up beautifully. You know, you could have locked down the country for every bit of the last year, and what you can't know is how many people would have either then died of something else that went undiagnosed. I mean, I had a very sad loss of a friend who died because was unable to get to a GP and therefore had a diagnosis made. I mean, there is a price to everything.
Yes.
And the Prime Minister, I think, in all conscience, has tried to use his own desire to see people...
We did it better in Wales.
All right.
We did it better in Wales. 10% fewer died.
We're going to leave it there at that point. Thank you to all of my guests today. Thank you to you, Laura, for joining me here in the studio. And I will be back tomorrow at 12:15. From all of us here, have a very good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Shifting the political landscape, but are the boundary changes a stitch-up? Tonight, an exclusive study for Newsnight shows who stands to benefit from changes to the electoral system. The surprising conclusion, the Lib Dems may have the most to lose. Michael Crick will be reporting on the impact of the boundary changes in different parts of the country. PM appears to endorse the Sun's latest campaign. The paper's managing editor is here to discuss why the scrounger has become public enemy number one. Hello, good evening. An independent study for Newsnight suggests that the Liberal Democrats could be the party to suffer most under boundary changes proposed for the next general election. Out of time there. That is all from Newsnight tonight, but I'll be back tomorrow night at the same time. See you then, I hope.
How do writers and artists respond to anxiety in contemporary culture? Mary Beard and guests discuss in Front Row Late at 11:05. First, it's Newsnight with Kirsty Walker.
Who exactly is running Brexit Britain? The PM, the Commons, the judges, the mob? Good evening. This week, Brexit has thrown up profound questions about our democracy, how parliamentarians, political leaders and the courts are interpreting what is and isn't lawful and legitimate, disagreement over ultimately who's in charge, and whether it's time for a written constitution.